What advantage does the stronger man have over the weaker man? Well, the stronger man is often larger. He will have a larger reach. He'll be able to carry a bigger weapon. That bigger weapon will have a bigger reach. Since he is stronger, his muscles will be faster. So he will be faster than you. Also, since obvious, he's even a bigger weapon, and he is stronger than you, he will hit harder when he connects. And what advantage does a weaker man have? None. And today is the topic. What is the most important statistic? It is obviously strength. Or, if you're getting some RuneQuest on, size as well, since strength and size tie together. But in most games, it is just assumed that if you have a large strength, you are bigger than the others. You obviously ate all your vegetables. But why is strength the most important? That means you can carry more. You can carry more gear. More gear means more survivability. After all, if you have all the things you need, then you are more likely to survive down whatever horrible adventure you've been sent on. Also, as the words of the duelist, whose name escapes me, mentioned, you'll be able to wield a larger weapon, a bigger weapon. You'll be able to carry more armor. You'll be able to lug around more defensive equipment. You'll have better arms and armor, and then someone who's weaker than you. And when you connect with someone, you'll definitely do more damage. So you'll be using a larger weapon and doing more damage. Clearly, this makes strength the most important stat. It's also useful for other things. All those things you do while investigating, while adventuring, while getting into trouble. You often need strength. When you need to lift something, when you need to bend something, when you need to break something. And adventurers break a lot of things. Strength always comes in handy. So, if your other party's strongman, consider reminding the other players who are, even if they are smarter than you, cleverer than you, or more connected to the gods than you, or healthier, that you are the most important member in the team, because you are the strongest. You have the most important stats. Want to be faster, quicker, more agile, more skilled than anyone else, then you need to choose dexterity, or it's occasionally called agility, or quickness, or moves. This is the most important stat, because it governs all those things. It governs your dodging ability, your ability to avoid blows. Forget about armor and having to carry around lots of heavy stuff to defend yourself with. If the opponent doesn't even hit you in the first place, you don't need that sort of thing. So clearly, dexterity is far more important. It also generally governs how well you are at hitting something. If you are coordinated, if you are agile, if you're able to land a blow, it doesn't matter if it doesn't flatten them in the first shot. If you can get consistent blow in, and you don't need to worry about flailing around wildly hoping to connect. You can connect every time, and often in many games that's enough. So dexterity is important there too. It also governs many skills, many abilities are governed by dexterity or agility. Ability to coordinate yourself. If you've got to manipulate something, disarm a bomb, drive a car, fire a gun, all these things require dexterity or agility. So that makes that the most important stat. It also often governs how fast you are. So how fast you can move, if you can get from A to B, if you can make that dash from one piece of cover to another. Dexterity is far more important than anything else, because that means you are not caught out of cover when the enemy lay down the fire and light you up. You are safe somewhere else thanks to your dexterity. It also often governs when you get to go in a turn. If you have good dexterity, you get to go first. You get to hit first, and you get to drop your opponent. A dropped opponent is not an opponent who's going to be hurting you. So this is why dexterity is the most important stat. Can you keep up with them all? Can you make it through watch without falling asleep? You're going to survive that poisoning attempt when that thing bites you? And you need constitution, or endurance, because this is the most important stat. Constitution often governs how much bonus health you get in Dungeons and Dragons or in other games, RuneQuest, GURPS. Then it actually governs how many health points you have. If you have a low endurance, a low constitution, then you can only get hit once, maybe twice. If you've got a high stat in there, then you can take a number of blows and still keep on tracking. This is important, because blows are going to land on you. Things are going to connect. Endurance and the constitution also govern your ability to resist poisons. And there is poisonous things out there. It governs your ability to resist disease. Do not be struck down by ailments. Ailments are definitely flying around the environments that adventurers hang out in. They hang out in dark, damp places. They go down where it's noisy and smelly, and no one's been cleaning for ages, because, let's face it, orcs do not clean, goblins do not clean, and it's always a mess down there. And the adventurers also go rooting around every offal pile looking for that copper piece, and that can give you diseases. And you resist diseases with your constitution, not with your endurance. So it is far more important than all those other stats. You need a good constitution, you need a good endurance. It also often governs how long you can go before you pass out. If you have to get somewhere in 3 days, and that's going to involve running all the way, you're going to need a high constitution. You're going to have... And do not worry about those pretty elves and noisome hobbits. You can always scurry faster than you. A good constitution, a good endurance means you just keep up with them. You don't tire, you don't get exhausted. This was Gimli's thing in those Lord of the Rings movies. Sure, Aragorn, Legolas could run faster than him, but he could just keep up. He just did not get tired, because he invested in constitution, in endurance, the most important stat. Answer this riddle, or the Sphinx will eat you. Decipher these runes so you know what the cult is up to, and where they are going to attempt their dread summoning. Try and suss out how that newfangled atomic bomb thing works, and how you can disarm it, perhaps. All these will require intelligence. Intelligence is the most important stat. Forget those physical attributes of those hulking jocks and nimble-ass rogues. The most important stat is intelligence. When you're adventuring, you're going to encounter puzzles, conundrums, enigmas, and dummies are not going to be able to solve those. They're going to sit there going, duh, with a sort of blank expression on their faces. It's up to you, the person who's invested in intelligence, to demonstrate why they have the most important stat, because they can solve those problems. They can come up with the bright ideas. They can decipher the runes. They can decipher the enigmas. And they also probably learn more. They know more. They'll be able to speak. Often they can speak more languages. When they come up across a strange alien race, they can decipher. They can work out how to speak to them. Once you can speak to something, you can negotiate with it. Once you can negotiate with something, you've generally got them by the short and curlies anyway. So, intelligence is the most important. It often also governs all those thinky brain skills. If you have a knowledge skill, if you need to know something, if you need to come up with information, if you need to research something, intelligence governs all of that. It often also governs how many skills you can have. After all, dummies don't get to do much. They get to sit there and, well, look a bit dim. If you've got a bunch of skills which can tell you how to solve a problem, or answer something, or know where to look up some conundrum that will help solve the problem or decipher a pattern, that is why intelligence is important. And in those games with magic, well, magic is often governed by intelligence. If you are smarter, you get better spells, you can learn more spells, and you can throw them more often. You don't sit there fumbling them well, because you are a fool. You just get to run them off your tongue, because you have memorized them. You know all the weird, strange incantations, and you can do them. You can say them in your sleep, but don't say them in your sleep, because, blowing up your bed and whoever's sleeping with you is always a bad thing. But that is why intelligence is the most important. Hey,
Adventurers, if I got a deal for you, just come down to this area and we can do some business. Don't do that, fool! You shouldn't do that if you've invested in wisdom, the most important stat. Wisdom is obviously important. It governs your common sense. And Lord knows adventurers definitely need common sense. There's often absence in most of them. It often governs your awareness of this area. Are you watchful? Are you ever on alert? This is governed by your wisdom, or your willpower, or, in RuneQuest basic role-playing, your power. It also governs, yes, your magical power, often. Yes, someone who's smart might know a great many spells, but if you've got a high wisdom, if you've got a high power, then your spells are stronger when you throw them. And it often governs your connection with the divine. And it is clearly obvious that in any fantasy universe, the divines are where the power lies. You have a connection to them if you can call on their favors or work their miracles, then you have a clear advantage over those fools who do not. Wisdom is clearly the most important. It often also governs your mental fortitude, your ability to shrug off foul magics, or to ignore them. You also don't get addicted. You don't fall for every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's trying to sell you something. You can resist blandishments and enticements. When someone tries to seduce you, a person with high wisdom can throw it off. They can choose whether they go through with it or not. Someone with low wisdom often will just do whatever someone that tells them to. Or if some rabble-rouser turns up, they will just join their bandwagon because they sound like they have up to a good thing. Someone with good wisdom, good willpower, good power can resist them, can say, no, not you. To the ground with you. So that is why wisdom is the most important. It's your mental ability, your mental strength, and your connection to the gods. What else could be more important than that?
And lastly, there is the most important stat of all. Well, that was hardly surprising since we've been watching all the others. Charisma. Charisma is obviously the most important. Your ability to convince other people to do your bidding, to how cool you are, how good looking you are. All these things are governed by charisma. Or GURPS, you will have additional advantages that you want to buy, such as convincing, the ability to bluff people, the ability to get along, to speak with people. These are all governed by your charisma or your charisma advantages. Because you're going to do a lot of deals in any role-playing game. It doesn't matter if you're constantly delving into dungeons, or you're investigating mad cultists, or you're playing some space lane somewhere. You're going to be talking to NPCs. And when you talk to NPCs, you're talking to NPC skills are governed by your charisma. Your charisma will influence this. If you are foul-mouthed, if you stumble over words, if you go and ah, and I forget this word, or you just climb up and go silent. When someone asks you a question, then you don't get things done. Even the most basic adventurer wants to be remembered for being famous. And no one remembers the ugly, smelly, bad-mouthed adventurer. They remember the good-looking guy, the good-looking woman, the one whose teeth go ding when they smile, who look good, who are probably the poster boy for the rebellion or the empire, depending on whose side you're on. Charisma governs all of that. You get to be famous. You get to be loved. You get to be admired. You get to be laid. And surely adventurers want that. But you also get better deals when you're dickering with merchants. You want the best stuff. It doesn't matter how much stuff you can carry or how well you can fire, a gun. A person with the charisma has the best gun and has got it at a good price. Someone has done a deal with them because they get the best deals. They get the best promotions. They have the highest rank. They are the most admired. And often they are the best paid. Because this is what charisma governs. It is clearly the best stat.